Trump wanted to ally with Russia and dismantle NATO. Biden and the Democrats can't stand this guy. Let me tell you if this sounds like what Africa is doing now. Take notes, Americans.
Do you respect Putin?
I do respect him.
Do you? Why?
Well, I respect a lot of people, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get along with him. He's a leader of his country. I say it's better to get along with Russia than not. And if Russia helps us in the fight against ISIS, which is a major fight, and Islamic terrorism all over the world,
right,
major fight, that's a good thing. Will I get along with him? I have no idea.
He's a killer, though. Putin's a killer.
A lot of killers. We got a lot of killers. Why, you think our country's so innocent?
Can't tell me he's wrong. The Democrats got the dirt on Trump, and they did leak some information that he was trying to dismantle NATO. Let's read about it in Independent. Donald Trump was considering pulling out of NATO and cutting the U.S.'s alliance with South Korea if he won the 2020 election, according to an account of his private meetings with top aides. I alone can fix it. Donald J. Trump's catastrophic final year is a behind-the-scenes account of Mr. Trump's last year in the White House, authored by Pulitzer Prize-winning reporters Phil Rucker and Carol Leoning. In an expert published in the Washington Post, Mr. Trump is said to have lost confidence in Defense Secretary Mark Esper. I wonder why. According to the book, Mr. Esper confided in colleagues that he was rooting for Joe Biden to win the election because he believed he cared about national security. Maybe that's why. I work for Donald Trump, but I really want Joe Biden to win. Esper couldn't say the same about Trump. In fact, Trump had privately indicated that he would seek to withdraw from NATO to blow up the U.S. alliance with South Korea should he win re-election. When those alliances had come up in meetings with Esper and other top aides, some advisors warned Trump that shredding them before the election would be politically dangerous. Yeah, the second term, Trump had said. We'll do it in the second term. Now, if you know about the Russian summit that just took place, you know that Africans that went to the Russian summit were all saying NATO sucks. NATO's a joke. I'm out. We want out. We need a new system. Museveni had this to say.
Now, when this problem of Libya started, the African Union, with our chairman, who is here now, this gentleman here, they formed a committee of a few of us. I think we were 6. I was one of them. The whole of the African Union gave that committee a mandate to look for a solution for the Libyan problem. Now, on one occasion, I didn't go that time. These excellencies, this one here, Jacob Zuma, and the others, I was not there, but my minister was among them. They entered a plane in Nouakchott in his place. They were going to Libya.
Then they went on to pressure Africa into condemning Russia for the Ukraine war. And Africa didn't budge on that. It's all over the news. Trump was looking to get out of NATO. So with that said, Trump was actually on the same path that Africa was following now. Get rid of NATO. So in this, Donald Trump seemed to have the same mindset that the Africans have. To get rid of the imperialists, colonialism, the NATO, and hook up with Putin, whatever you can help. Let's help each other out, no matter if you're communist or Republic or Democratic, whatever you are. Let's just try to help each other out. Now, moving on here, we're going into deeper realms. But first, I have a joke for you. A U S diplomat goes to Niger to see Bazoum. Oh, wait. Snap. That's not a joke. It's true. Did the United States not get the memo? That they're not listening to you anymore. They want you out of this. They don't care what you think. Let's educate ourselves on this person, shall we? The diplomat that went to go see the junta, Nuland. Nuland met with General Moussa Salou Barmoud, the self-proclaimed chief of defense, and 3 colonels supporting him for more than 2 hours for extremely frank and at times quite difficult conversations, she said. Extremely frank and difficult? During wartime? What did you think? Well, I just thought we were going to have a children's drag queen story time for an hour and sing Kumbaya until they saw my side of it, and we could go back and as if nothing ever happened. Really? Nuland is the highest level U.S. official to meet in person with the military putschists. Her trip to the capital of the city of Niamey made at the request of the Secretary of State, Blinken. Oh, wait. Now I get it. Anthony Blinken sent her over there. He must have been too scared to do it himself. Why? Because they can't stand that imperialist, Anthony Blinken, a Western bureaucrat who's throwing loose threats at them all the time. So he sent his assistant, Nuland, the young lady. Now I know who you are, Nuland. We know you, Nuland. Her resume is filled with deep state red flags. 1993 to 1996, Deputy Director of former Soviet Union Affairs under Clinton administration. Then she worked for the Bush administration. They've got to love her for that. From 2003 to 2005, Nuland served as the Principal Deputy of Foreign Policy Advisor to Vice President Dick Cheney at the time, exercising an influential role in the Iraq War. Gotta love that. From 2005 to 2008, during the President George Bush, his second term, Nuland served as U.S. Ambassador in the NATO, North Atlantic Trade Organization, in Brussels, where she concentrated mobilizing European support for the NATO intervention in Afghanistan. But wait, there's more. In the summer of 2011, Nuland became a special envoy for conventional armed forces in Europe. Then 2013, under Obama, in May 2013, Nuland was nominated to act as Assistant Secretary of State for European and Eurasian Affairs. Nuland was nominated to act as Assistant Secretary of State of European and Eurasian Affairs and was sworn in on September 18, 2013. Her role as an Assistant Secretary, she managed diplomatic relations with 50 countries in Europe and Eurasia, as well as with NATO, the European Union, and Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. No, I'm not done. This is the person they sent to junta. She's pro-Ukraine war as well. She's everything Africa is fighting against. She's what they are fighting against. And during the Maidan uprising in the Ukraine, Nuland made appearances supporting the Maidan protesters. In December 2013, here's the good news. It's not all negative here. Nuland left the State Department. See, I told you there was good news. She's gone now. She was gone. Why did she leave? Well, you see, in 2017, Trump was voted in. She resigned when Donald Trump became president because Donald Trump didn't want her. But she came back to work for Joe Biden on January 5th, 2021. It was reported that the president-elect Joe Biden would nominate Nuland to serve as the Assistant Secretary of State for Political Affairs, under none other than Anthony Blinken, who had been nominated to serve as Secretary of State. So she is the deep state. She's the pawn of the colonialist. She's the pawn of the imperialist. And her being a spokesperson in Niger, I really thought this was a joke. Is the Biden administration really this blind? I think that these Democrat elites are so far into the LGBTQ, climate change, pay for your air, vaccinate the world, fear the world, make the world fear you agenda, that they're alien from any real situations like what's happening in Niger. Nuland says she was frank about what is at risk if they do not reverse the course of what she explained very clearly. The U.S. legal responsibilities if the military takeover is formally declared a coup, telling them that it's not our desire to go there, but they may push us to that point. That's what she said. If Biden went out and called this a coup, there would be military force. But he can't do that. He's got too much at stake, and too many Americans here would be on the streets marching. But it really has me wondering about the President Bazoum now. And so should you. Sometimes the answer to our most difficult question is staring us right in the face. Obvious isn't so obvious if enough distractions are created to confuse the common senses, which then we overthink things that are plain and simple. So after surfing the land of confusion on the World Wide Web to find answers to a simple question, which was, why are they fighting for a coup that overthrew a president who was voted in by the majority of the people? I mean, it's a legitimate, honest question. I mean, sure, we can all agree with defeating colonialism and imperialism, but we also agree on democracy, where the people have the right to choose their leader. And we live by the results. We win some, we lose some. How do you think Americans feel? We're stuck with Biden. And how do you think the peasants of France feel who are stuck with Macron? It just doesn't get no worse than that. But people choose their leader. I mean, even if Bazoum had remained as president, he could have listened to the voice of the people and went beast mode on the French and the Western imperialists, right? He could have done that. I mean, he could have. I'm not saying he would have. So it's not about the cause anymore. It's about the person in power to initiate and fulfill the cause for the people. Which brings me again to my question. So why are we standing with a coup that overthrew an elected president? Why would they dethrone him? Are we on the right side of truth here? And justice and democracy? I couldn't find it on the internet, so my common sense is kicked in, and here's what I came up with. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I encourage healthy debates here. We get better from them. I thought to myself here, look at all the people of Niger that have joined with the coup in protests against the modern government. They're everywhere. They're encouraged. They have purpose. Hundreds of thousands marching the streets and fighting for their just deserve. Then I look at all the people in Niger that have taken to the streets for the unseated President Bazoum, and I don't see hardly anyone. I saw one quiet protest where there were like 10 people chanting Bazoum, Bazoum. So if there's not any demonstration from the citizens who feel strong enough to fight for Bazoum, then did he really win the election? Where are his voters? I mean, the only people who want him back in office seem to be outside the borders of Niger. All in all, my conscience is cleared by common sense and obviously the hearts and courage of the people of Niger. That speaks volumes.